It's time to go racing round the streets of Long Beach for the 50th time. It's the 50th Grand Prix of Long Beach here in Long Beach, California. What an iconic race circuit and what an iconic race. The car's getting ready to get going. And what an amazing circuit it is. And let's bring Omi back up as well while I try and enable my camera on OBS, because it has not enabled since I moved over from the NASCAR stream as well. Hello Omi, how are you doing?
Hello, I'm doing well. Looking forward to this INDYCAR race to see how it all plays out after what was an interesting qualifying yesterday. So looking forward to seeing how this one goes. But yes, your camera not enabling on OBS is just the perfect way to start this one off. It's going to be quite a lot of fun, we hope, and it's going to be quite a lot of action as well.
Yep, and we press the button now. And hello, you can actually see my beautiful face, which is probably not the best. But now we've got the problem of TV pictures not working. It's going well, Omi.
It has, yes. The TV pictures now are deciding to have a nightmare. So a perfect way to start everything off. But luckily, we aren't going racing yet. We still have a little bit of time as well with the pre-race stuff going on. And the green flag will be flying later on.
Yeah, while we iron out a couple of issues, let's go down and hear from everyone's favourite person. It's Will Buxton.
So just 6 drivers have won Long Beach from the top spot. Can Carl Kirkwood do it today? He was resplendent yesterday in qualifying. He will lead the field to green, and Andretti are a real powerhouse when you look at those 2 wins for Alexander Rossi in 18
Chevy.
and
What's
19.
your game plan today?
They know what
top
they're
Chevy
doing
and top INDYCAR.
around.
I like that. I like that. But we'll see what we got. We'll just we'll execute and see where we end up in the race. Awesome. Thanks, Guy. Good luck, buddy. We're going to just keep shimmying along here. One of the things that's so cool about Long Beach, it is packed. Does make my grid walk a little bit tougher. We are here. Nicholas Chavez. How you doing, mate?
Brother? Good, man. Good.
Going to be driving the 2-seater.
Yes, sir.
First INDYCAR experience. What are you feeling?
I'm so excited, man. This is an unreal event. The energy here is totally crazy. I'm so stoked, man.
Who are you cheering for today? Just give us 2 drivers.
It's got to be Marcus Ericsson and Scott Dixon, both great guys. You know, they're going to go fast today.
And actually, right here, entered, joining the party, Marcus. What's it going to take to win the race today?
Tire strategy is going to be important for sure. Looking after those greens in the beginning and then being fast on the primaries. But there's a lot of good cars out there. The Andretti car, the Bryant Honda, it's been good all weekend. So I'm excited. It's going to be good. Awesome.
Have a great day, buddy. We're going to try and hurry up somewhat quickly to Colton Herter, who has been rapid this weekend. Actually, the whole Andretti Global team, sorry, catch myself there. Rob Edwards, strategist for the 26, walking by me. They've been flying. 1st, 2nd, 5th. I can see them. They can see me. They're coming. Here we go. Mr. Herter.
You found me.
I found you. Dan, I'm so happy that you made it. What a travel trip you've had. How's it going today?
Good. Good to see you.
You too. Colin, come back here just one sec.
What's up?
What's it going to take for you to win this race today?
A lot, man. It's 95 perfect laps. We got to take care of these red tires to try and get into the window where we can use the black tires efficiently. And this is one of the tracks that we use the most battery power on through this system. So that gets a lot of use, and I think you can use it quite effectively how you use overtake.
Best of luck today. And Kevin Lee is with his teammate.
Well, last year, Kyle Kirkwood followed Colton Herter the entire time at Toronto for a 1-2 for Andretti. Switch this time around. How do you race each other?
You know, I think last year at Toronto, we needed a win, right? So we're going to do everything in our power to get a win. And that's going to be a little bit of the same here today, but they're going to allow us to race. It's going to be a race, and it's going to be whoever is the best driver comes out on top. Of course, there's a lot of other drivers here that we can keep at bay. Palou is just behind us, and there's a lot of other guys too that are heavy hitters that will be trying to take over that top spot, but hopefully we can maintain it. That's the goal. It's to get through that first stop. That's the crucial one, and then from there on out, hopefully it's clean sailing. You say that in IndyCar, but it never is clean sailing. The year that I won 2 years ago, we thought it was going to be clean sailing. It definitely was not. So hopefully we keep all the wheels on this thing. It's fast, it's consistent, it's clean. We have good stops, and everything works out well.
All 3 poles for Kyle Kirkwood on street courses, and he's won the previous 2, including here. Will.
Thanks, my friend. We are about to go street racing and street fighting here on the streets of Long Beach, and of course a burgeoning and wonderful art scene here in California. Stefan Johansson, former IndyCar and Formula One driver, now plies his trade as an artist, decided to make us something beautiful.
Well, some nice touches here this weekend. We've already seen a flyover consisting of helicopters from the LA County Fire, LA City Fire and Cal Fire, LA County Sheriff and LA Police Department, and the Long Beach Police Department as well as first responders. 27 of them from various departments will ride on the back of pickup trucks along with the NTT IndyCar Series drivers in the pre-race parade. That happened earlier on, and that is all in memory of the Pasadena fires here earlier in the year. Right, let's look ahead to what we can expect in this race. David has got in touch on X. You can get in touch on BlueSky and X at Tom Game, or using the Sky IndyCar hashtag, saying who's going to win this race. Well, I think it's going to be an Andretti driver, but will you count out the likes of Alex Palou, who starts in 3rd place, has never won around here? Then you've got the likes of Felix Rosenquist as well in the Meyer Shank car, with the Chip Ganassi Alliance there in 4th place. Well, I think we're going to see a grid rundown before we go back to Will Buxton and co at Fox, but qualifying was really interesting yesterday. It didn't go the way of Team Penske, but for Andretti locking out the front row, they're looking to do what they did in Toronto last year with a 1-2. Scott McLaughlin, the only Chevrolet in that Fast 6. Pato O'Ward, well, he was balked, so was Nolan Siegel by his teammate Christian Lundgaard, who would have transferred through to the Fast 6 but caused that red flag, had that shunt. He's got a new car and a different gearbox as well going into the race.
The Grand Prix of Long Beach has been running since 1975. Began as a Formula 5000 race, then welcomed Formula One to Long Beach before IndyCar made it its home in 1984. It is one of the most historic, one of the most challenging street races on earth. Al Unser Jr. with 6 wins to his name, the most successful driver around here. Mario Andretti got 4 wins between F1 and IndyCar. Now, one guy who got here a little bit early this week, Pato O'Ward, who went to make some new friends.
Well, we seem to have run into a little bit of a problem here in the commentary box. It's either webcam or TV cameras only. So, thoughts going into this weekend while I fix this absolute abomination?
Yeah, really, really interesting. But Kyle Kirkwood able to take pole position, and it was a brilliant Fast 6 yesterday as well. Alex Palou, no one can count him out. You had the McLarens leading 1 and 2 all the way throughout the race last time out a couple of weeks ago, and then Alex Palou came charging through, overtaking Lundgaard, overtaking O'Ward as well to take the win. It was some brilliant battling, and around a circuit which we didn't see good battling throughout the race. When we did get it between Alex Palou and Lundgaard, that was phenomenal in the battle for 2nd place. It was great to watch. It went on for so long, and it was brilliant to see, along with, well, JB also loved it as well, up here in the commentary box when us two were doing that. And it was also the race where everything went down trackside, and we were the only people who were providing live commentary and updates as well on the race that was going on, which absolutely everyone lost it, including Fox, including Sky. Everyone lost coverage of that one. So just the chaos of last time out, but let's see how the chaos this time out will go here at Long Beach.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's worked, surprisingly, Omi. The only problem is that I now need to relocate cameras because your camera has moved.
Yeah, not ideal, but the backup TV picture account being helpful as always. So looking forward now to actually be able to see this race, and the viewers also being able to see your camera at home, which is also phenomenal as well. So everything's sorted, even after a couple of technical issues to start off.
And let's go back down to Tom Gamer.
So we're going to get 90 laps around this 11-turn temporary street course, 1.968 miles. Lots of different surface changes, and not your conventional street track as well, with the 90 rights, 90 lefts, and fast-flowing, as well as Shoreline Boulevard that we see on the screen there. We think it's going to be a two-stopper with quite a big fuel save. The three-stopper comes into play if we get an early caution like we did in St. Pete. So the majority of the field are going to start on the alternate tyre, the green sidewalled Waioli tyre. That's the same tyre that we had in St. Petersburg for the alternate. They've got to run the primary as well, the black sidewalled harder tyre, but we think it's going to be a black race. They ran the greens in the warm-up. They said they were horrible. Real question marks over whether or not they can go 23, 25 laps to make it a two-stopper. We don't think they can. So the whole field, really, bar a handful of drivers starting on those greens, they're going to ship them quickly and run the blacks to the end of the race. You don't want to take your medicine at the end of the race, having started on the blacks and having to run the greens at the end. But if we have a first lap caution, you know, the field will still come in, but it brings the two-stopper back into play. So keep an eye on that 2 or 3 stopper. Lots of question marks around strategy. There always is in IndyCar. If it's a big fuel save, who do you start to look towards? Scott Dixon, but he didn't.
A lot of question marks indeed about strategy, Omi. And around the streets of Long Beach, 5 laps longer race than what it was last year. It was 85 laps last year. It's now 90 laps this year.
Yeah, and they just wanted to make you do a bit of extra work. I think that's why they've added those 5 extra laps coming into this year. But yes, a bit of a longer duration of a race, and hopefully we're going to have some action all the way through as well, even though it is said to be a little bit more of the calmer ones. Let's hope there is a bit of normal, typical IndyCar action and chaos that we are used to in this series. But yeah, the early rounds of this season, not the best way to start the season. We get to the better circuits as we go along, and then this season starts to come alive, and then we get to the peak IndyCar racing that we all know and love as well. But hopefully today we'll be able to get some sort of a good race.
Yeah, absolutely. Cars are lined up in pit road, and cars getting ready to be started up here at Long Beach. And we've had historic cars going round this weekend. Formula Drift was here last weekend. The Stadium Super Trucks and the IMSA WeatherTech Championship also involved in this. It is not just IndyCar, it is not just a racing. But let's go to the starting grid for the 50th Grand Prix.
Kentucky.
Rinus VK, Hoofddorp, the Netherlands.
Robert Schwartzman, born in Israel, Tel Aviv.
Devon DiFrancesco, Toronto, Ontario.
I'm Callum Milo, I'm from Cambridge in the UK.
Connor Daly from Noblesville, Indiana.
Louis Foster, Odium, England.
Stingray Rob, Hayat, Idaho.
Outside row 9.
I'm from Copenhagen, Denmark.
Hi, I'm
Inside
Kevin
row
Simpson
9.
from the Cayman Islands. Graham
Outside
Rahal,
row 8.
Columbus, Ohio. Joseph Newgarden
Inside row 8.
Nashville, Tennessee. I'm Scott
Outside
Dixon,
row
driving
7.
the number 9 PNC Bank Honda from Auckland, New
Inside
Zealand. Will
row
Power.
7.
Toowoomba, Queensland, Australia.
I'm Christian
Outside
Lundgaard
row
from
6.
Viola, Denmark.
Nolan
Inside
Siegel,
row
Palo
6.
Alto, California. I'm David Malukas.
Outside
growing
row
up in
5.
Chicago, Illinois.
Pato Award, Monterey,
Inside
Mexico.
row 5.
Alexander Rossi.
Outside row 4.
Marcus Armstrong.
Inside row 4.
Bob McLaughlin, Christchurch, New Zealand.
Outside row 3.
Kumla, Sweden.
Inside row 3.
Rosenquist.
Outside row 2.
Hello, I'm Alex Bello. I'm from Barcelona, Spain.
From Valencia, California.
I'm Kyle Kirkwood from Jupiter, Florida.
50 years of the Grand Prix of Long Beach, and two gentlemen have 10 wins between them. Alonso Jr. with 6, Mario Andretti with 4,
Race fans,
and they will take the
It's time
command.
for those most famous words in motorsports. Here to give the command, please welcome your co-grand marshals, INDYCAR legends, Mario Andretti and Alonso Jr.
Drivers, start your engines!
Engines fired for the 50th Grand Prix of Long Beach. We're getting ready for the start of this one with Carl Kirkwood and Colton Herter as a front row. Strong front row, Omi, as we come back up to cameras. What do you expect?
Expecting a bit of good racing as well, even if it is said to be one of those more quiet ones. It can deliver out of nowhere. You can't get Alex Palou just passing everyone at will. You do get always, even if it is expected to be, even if it's expected to be a little bit more of a quiet race, we do get just some wild moments that can send the race into some form of action as we get ready to get going.
Yeah, absolutely. Cars are rolling. We've already gone through our starting grid, even if it was a little bit of a mess on the production side of this one, but we went through it anyway. Golden pace car for the 50th Grand Prix of Long Beach. Gold, gold, gold everywhere.
Looks like it. Looks like quite a bit of gold with what we're seeing if you're synced up with us as well.
And let's see if we can talk to Joseph Newgarden.
Up here in the Fox booth, you got a copy?
Yeah, copy, on the third inch.
Look, man, after qualifying, we saw the frustration, the consternation on your face for having been held up. You thought you had fast 6 pace in the car. Down in 15th, you know how to win this race. You did it back here in 22. What's it going to take from 15th on the grid? Is it flat-out pace passing guys? Is it strategy? What's the plan?
Yeah, I think there's no choice today but to just try and drive forward people at the end of the day. This team's done a great job this weekend. It's one of the best cars I've had on a racetrack in my entire career. So I'm focused on, my job, just trying to put in good laps. We got to have great stops, a good strategy, but this team can do it. I always believe, and so let's see how this thing turns out. You always try and predict these races, and they turn another way. So it's a great thing about IndyCar, but we have tons of opportunity today to try and get to the front.
Yeah, you do, buddy. Well, we look forward to a good show as you move forward. Best of luck.
Yeah, thanks. Enjoy the show.
Joseph Newgarden 7th in the championship at the minute. Sandwiched between Kirkwood and Herter, our front row sitters. Let's take a look around the Grand Prix of Long Beach and this incredible, challenging circuit, Townsend.
The accurate track preview. It starts down Shoreline Drive, 180 miles an hour until the heaviest brake zone on the track. That's where they will fire in 2-3 wide for the start.
Funnels down to just one lane there. You often see issues in that scenic fountain. Then down here through turn 4, it's downhill and sets you up for turn 5, where it's all about curves curves and a strong exit for the run down to 6.
Leads to another great passing opportunity on the brakes for turn 6. I love this corner. So smooth at the exit. You can really lean into the power aggressively. This potentially the most treacherous on the track. Turn 8, very tough to stay off the wall.
Tough when you're trying to make a pass, but down here in turn 9, we've seen guys in that runoff all through practice and qualifying. That's where Lundgaard hit the wall, then turn 10. Tough to balance an IndyCar around that seemingly never-ending left-hander until the famous hairpin.
And the slowest corner on the entire schedule, just 31 miles an hour across the middle for turn 11 at Long Beach. No other place on the planet just like it.
The slowest speed on the track is actually slightly faster than you're legally normally allowed to go around these streets. Guys, we heard from Joseph Newgarden sitting there in that car. Let's take a closer look at exactly what that driver position looks like in the office space that you guys know.
Well, Joseph Newgarden, one of the fittest drivers, maybe one of the fitter athletes in all of sports. A lot of people ask about the physicality behind the wheel of an IndyCar, and thanks to this Dallara cutaway, we go inside and show you how dramatically different just the pedals are driving an IndyCar. Big fat brake pedal, equally fat wide throttle pedal. The drivers are secured through a 6-point harness, James. We'll see that as we blow off the bodywork.
And the important thing to notice here is that the driver's rear end actually sits lower than your feet. It's almost like having your feet up on the faucet of a bathtub. That's all about getting that driver weight low. You're leaned back. You're in a custom molded bead seat that keeps you comfy and tight and safe.
And even though you're secure, it is violent inside, and 90 laps is a long time around here. And Kevin, it looks like the sun is popping on pit lane.
And Townsend, only 6 are starting on the hard compound, and no one farther up than Christian Lundgaard starting in 12. Those 6 have a chance of making it a 2-stopper if they get some help with cautions to shorten the soft stint, and it includes Scott Dixon, last year's winner. The rest on the soft green side wells want to get rid of them as soon as possible because they don't last very long. And those up front are changing at the first caution. If it stays green, they'll change between laps 5 and 12. To Jack Harvey.
One of the guys that I'm really going to pay attention to today, it's not a surprise, it's Will Power. He's had 18 starts here. He's the 3rd best average finish of about 6.5. So a guy who was the highest mover on the previous weekend at Thermal, he's my guy I'm watching today.
With the driver's eye camera, beautiful innovation for this weekend. We'll see that all the way through the race. The Acura pace car leads them down the back stretch into that treacherous turn 9 where we've seen people go off.
Here we go then, getting ready for the start of the 50th Acura Grand Prix of Long Beach. Lights are out on the pace car, and you will be delighted to see that I'm standing up, homie. Very massive rarity here on JBM. The pace car leaves the pack. They will double up as they exit the final hairpin, the shortest corner on the season schedule. They're doubled up, and the green flag is about to fly for the 50th time here at Long Beach. Green flag, and the 50th Grand Prix of Long Beach is underway. Good start from Kirkwood, good start from Herta, and it's Kirkwood who has got the inside line in towards turn 1. He gets it. He is a car length ahead already in towards the famous fountain section. Kirkwood still got the lead as Rahal drops down, and at the moment it's Kirkwood, Herta, Felix Rosenqvist in 3rd, Omi.
Absolutely great stuff from Kirkwood, maintaining positions as the rest of the field try and navigate the way through. We've got a dive from further back.
Newgarden down the inside of Dixon. Dixon tried to turn in, but then he realised he had the number 2 of Newgarden up the inside of him. He does it once again as they go under the bridge, under the road, as they go in towards the car park section.
Yeah, getting super tight. They're all still darting left and right as they try navigate their way through on the first lap out of 90 that we are running here at Long Beach. It's still Kirkwood and Herta, as you mentioned, right now still at the front as they go single file. They're still jostling though at the back to try and gain every single advantage and position that they can in these early stages.
Of course, 5 laps longer than last year's race, and once again the Fox graphics are incorrect. It is not lap 1 of 90, it's lap 2 of 90. They are once again a lap behind. They are going for the laps completed but not actually showing its laps completed, if you know what I mean. On board with Alexander Rossi, Omi, as we head down the backstretch.
Yeah. Just try and see what he's going to be able to come up with in this race, as they will try and work out where they can try and follow closely and see if there's any other opportunities. We are still in the early stages, so everyone's bunched together, so there will be some chances to make some nice easy moves if you can get there, if you can get by, but it's all about timing those to perfection, and risk versus reward stuff. You don't want to end up having contact in these early stages.
Yeah, absolutely. Single file for the top 10, top 15. I think single file everywhere. Was that someone diving to the pit road, or was that someone having an instant or trying to get alongside someone? We stay green, but out of the final corner, someone making a very, very aggressive turn. It was down to pit road. Is that Joseph Newgarden? I think Joseph Newgarden has had to come down pit road. Yes, he has. Joseph Newgarden, absolute drama here at Long Beach on lap 3 of 90. Joseph Newgarden is down pit road, Omi.
Unbelievable stuff. Well, the drama that we were talking about kicks off immediately in the early stages of this one, and that is going to be a pit stop as we cut to it. And yeah, you were correct about a driver coming into the pit lane, and it turns out it was Newgarden, and that is a bit of a shock coming in at the early stages.
But we know the tyre strategy and how the tyres work here. Was that planned from Joseph Newgarden? Did they want to get rid of those tyres that early on in the race? He very nearly goes into the wall, exiting pit road, and, well, 2 corners running, he's very nearly binned it into the wall. He has changed to compound tyres. He's 30 seconds behind. He's hoping for a caution to catch back up, but Joseph Newgarden not out of it. I think that was a very bold strategic move as Pato O'Ward straight up the inside down in towards turn 1.
Nice stuff from Pato O'Ward, textbook stuff there as well. And yes, Joseph Newgarden, when we went on board with him, he was all over the road, close to the walls, close to losing the car, so you'll need to generate the temperature and the tyres to try to keep that one going at decent pace as well. But yes, could it be a strategy masterclass? Was it planned? That would be the interesting thing to know.
And Christian Rasmussen have done the same. They are on the same strategy as Joseph Newgarden. They are going for very bold. They're hoping for cautions, and cautions are not unknown here at Long Beach. We do have them quite often. They're hoping for an early caution.
Absolutely. O'Ward setting the fastest lap at this stage, as we were watching his overtake on the last lap as well. So he was able to fight away by, and also was the quickest in the early stages. You're going to see that fastest lap continue to be traded, but yes, it's not Joseph Newgarden alone. We've also seen 2 more contenders come in, so definitely some people electing to go a little bit different here at Long Beach to try and get themselves into contention.
Yeah, reports were over the weekend, and we've seen the difference between the soft primary and the hard tyre as well, between the primary and the secondary tyres, the hard and soft tyres here at Long Beach. And well, we've definitely seen that it is a very favoured 1 tyre race here at the streets of Long Beach. Working lap 5 of 90, it's still Carl Kirkwood, Colton Herter, Felix Rosenquist, Scott McLaughlin, Alex Pelot, your top 5.
That is the top 5 indeed at this stage of the race as well. We're side by side further back. The Prima trying to get by.
Yeah, Prima moving, and who else was that coming down into pit road? We've had Colton Herter from 3rd, Scott McLaughlin from 5th. So even from the top positions, we've got cars coming down pit road.
1.5 turns of front wing out of the car. We see Scott McLaughlin on the Dex imaging machine. He is in and out. Joseph Newgarden has set a trend, doing it from 15th. These are the guys up at the front making this move.
1.5 turns then, very, very close. Oh, Colton Herter. Colton Herter slides side by side down the pit road, Omi, as they head towards pit road. Colton Herter, who's in front? I think it's just Colton Herter just in front.
Yep, absolutely. Well, we had Verstappen and Norris both doing that 1 week ago in Suzuka, and well, a lot more cleaner this time around between these two drivers, which is great to see. But yes, very intriguing as they both tried to get out quicker, and yes, that was super tight on the pit lane exit.
Colton Herta had a shorter distance to drive, which is why he's got it, but this is going to be an outlap battle. McLaughlin jumping over the curbs down there at turns 5 and then turn 6 as we start lap 7 of 90. And we are very nearly 10% through this race. Look at Herta. McLaughlin dives down the inside. What a move. Does he get it stick? And a little bit of a slide through the apex corner. What a move from the number 3 of Scott McLaughlin. More contenders down pit road. It's Connor Daly, Will Power, as well as a couple of others. Let me get the full list of who has come in, because this is absolute drama here at Long Beach with the tyre strategies. It's Patro Ward, Marcus Ericsson, Alex Palou is in, Felix Rosenquist, Will Power, and Connor Daly are your contenders down for pit road this time. Strategy is alive here side by side down the pit exit and the pit road. Look at that, right into the middle of it. This is Colton Herta, Newgarden getting a little bit caught up. McLaughlin up the inside. Lock up.
They're still making their way through. It's getting super tight, isn't it, JT?
Yeah, absolutely, as that was a lock-up for the 28. Here comes Newgarden down the inside. What a move. Kirkwood is in from... Carl Kirkwood has just pitted from the lead of the race for tyre strategy, Ovi.
It's really turning into that type of race. There's quite a bit going on in terms of the pit lane. Lap after lap, we're seeing so many diving in, and the on-track overtakes that we're getting as well. Absolutely phenomenal. Drivers being so late on the brakes, and they're being able to forge their way by at different parts of the circuit. But yes, a very fascinating start to this one. Quite a lot to keep on top of, with some great on-track action, and also in the pit lane as well.
Yeah, and that allows Marcus Armstrong in the Meyer Shank racing car to take the lead. So it's Marcus Armstrong, Christian Lundgaard, Nolan Siegel, Scott Dixon, Kevin Simpson, your top 5. But as you can see on the timing screen, Marcus Armstrong from the lead has just come down in pit road.
It's wild. It's wild. Well, we're seeing so many different contenders. We've got a big train that's going on as well, as they all pit on different laps. They've rejoined the road. It's absolutely really interesting to see how they all filter out.
Yep, Armstrong comes down to pit road now. So Lundgaard takes the lead. So it is a Arrow McLaren 1-2 in the middle of this tyre strategy chaos.
They somehow forgot their way back to the front as well. After what happened last time around, we're still battling and jostling for positions here.
That was contact with that move. That was the battle in front of Will Power. So that was Rossi and Ericsson. As we continue down the front stretch, Simpson overtakes Siegel for 3rd place, and it's Armstrong and Abel. Look at that, round the outside. Marcus Ericsson cannot get it done round the outside of Alexander Rossi.
He cannot find a way by this stage, so he's going to have to regroup and try go again. If you are synced up with us, Christian Lundgaard right now is in our picture with Dixon directly in behind as we take a look back to other battles that are going on around this circuit.
This is on board with Carl Kirkwood looking back at Alex Palou. Max speed 165 mile per hour as they go in towards turn 9 through turn 10 now, and then turn 11 at the hairpin. That's the minimum speed, 31 mile per hour, only 11 mile per hour faster than the legal speed limit here round the streets of Long Beach, as there's the Andretti of the 27 car keeping the number 10 world champion, INDYCAR champion. They call it world champion, but he's not a world champion because it's just America and Canada this series is.
Yeah, that's quite interesting. That's quite interesting. Not really a world champion then at this stage as well. If it's just based, of course, as we know it, in America and also in Canada with a couple of trips, as you mentioned. And Palo just right now is tucking in behind and with a little bit of a distance directly in front as he now tries to just stick with the contenders that are right in front of him at this stage. Lap number 10 out of 90 according to the Fox graphic, but we all know that's not the case.
Lap 11 of 90. It's Lundgaard, Dixon, Simpson, Rob, Ferrucci as Fox go to their first ad break of the day. Let's go down and hear from Tom Gaymore.
Strategy, you got those that started on the alternates, dumping those. They are gonna have to fuel save to do it in 2 more stops, stopping that early. The drivers that haven't stopped, and that's the likes of Lundgaard, Dixon, Kiffin, Simpson, Stingray, Rob, Santino, Ferrucci and Robert Schwartzman, they are on the black sidewall tyre. They are going to go long. They're going to do it on a 2-stop with 2 more stops to go, but how limited are they going to be when they put the greens on? And that's going to be the big question mark, because they may have to switch to 3 stops. The problem with making an extra stop here at Long Beach is the pit loss. In terms of the delta time is really high. It's a really long pit out. So if you have to make an extra stop, you're in real bother. So all of these runners now that are on the black sidewall tyre that stopped early, their big conundrum is hitting the fuel number. If they don't hit the fuel number, they're going to be making an extra stop. The ones who didn't stop, the ones who have stayed out, started on the blacks, their big conundrum is can they make the greens work later on in the race? If they can't, they're going to have to make an extra stop. So this is going to be seriously interesting. We're only 11 laps in to 90 laps here at Long Beach, as we see here now into turn 1. That's Alexander Rossi getting squeezed, and I think he will power there with a huge move. Pato O'Ward couldn't follow through, and now Alexander Rossi, the bit of a cork in the bottleneck. He doesn't look as comfortable at this stage in the race on the black sidewall tyre, on the harder tyre, than he did on the greens, on the softer tyre. That was a big, bold move by Will Power down into turn 1. And Rossi now with his mirrors full of Pato O'Ward, who in turn has David Malukas and Graham Rahal right behind.
Lap 13 of 90 now, as we come back to the main screen. It's still Christian Lundgaard, Scott Dixon, Kiffin Simpson, then Stingray, Rob, Santino, Ferrucci, your top 5. No one has pitted the past couple of laps, Omi.
Yeah, it's all calmed down over the last few couple of laps after so much action in the pit lane before that phase. So really interesting to see them all out there on the circuit as they now try and make some moves. As the pit lane activity calms down for the moment, it will definitely erupt later on as they right now fight their way through around this circuit, which is really great to see them just attacking very close to the walls. And it's always a challenge. At any moment, the car can get away from you, and it could be a trip into the barrier, and that is what all of the drivers are trying to avoid right now. So high concentration stuff around a street circuit like this.
Yeah, absolutely. Everyone on the black hard tyres, and all the pit stops we saw earlier on were drivers switching from the green alternate soft tyres to the black hard primary tyres, which are the tyres to be in all of the practice qualifyings and warm-ups. They found out that this was a black tyre circuit, a primary tyre circuit, not the green alternate tyre circuit. It favours the primaries more than the alternates, as we are on board with our race leader, the number 7 of Christian Lundgaard as we cut to Alex Palou, who is starting to head down the backstretch. Now, that's team communications.
Oh, and they just told Kirkwood he needs to save some, so if we can get around him, that'll be a big advantage.
Yeah, interesting indeed. Very, very calm. Alex Palou knows what's going on. He's currently 8th place. And
Yeah.
as we continue, lap 15 of 90 Omi.
Yeah, a driver as talented and capable as Palou, of course, has the talent to monitor and see things, and he is really calm behind the wheel, and he's executed so many brilliant performances in the past, so we absolutely know that he is really, really the one to watch, and is near that finished article category as well. And it's always great to watch him racing and seeing what he comes up with every single round here in this IndyCar Championship.
Through the fountain section we were a couple of moments ago, and you can actually hear the sound of the water falling on the fountain through the camera. Here's Carl Kirkwood we are on board with, looking back once again at Alex Palou. And we take the nose cam now. Now driver's eye with Carl Kirkwood down in towards the hairpin, out of the hairpin. Foot to the floor on the acceleration.
That have not yet pit, so if you have a little bit more pace, that just covers us for them, but we don't want to risk anything to do it.
Is that the one thing I could?
Yeah, absolutely. As we complete another lap, still Lundgaard, Dixon, Simpson, Rob Frucci. It's single file through the whole field, Omi. Classic Long Beach we're getting into now.
Yeah, classic Long Beach, where we get the entire train and wait for someone to do something to give us something to talk about in terms of on-track action. And I guess this is one of the reasons why I don't think JB minds missing this race. Of course, he went over to NASCAR for track cameras, but I don't think he minds as well. But how was the NASCAR race before you got it? Was it any good? Was it anything interesting?
It was alright, but Christian Lundgaard leads Scott Dixon, Kiffin Simpson, Stingray Rob, Santino Frucci. It's lap 17 of 90 on the Grand Prix of Long Beach as Fox go to their second ad break of the day. As we continue to circulate, and gotta do the intros and the outros to the ad breaks for everyone over on USN. It makes them a little bit, makes it a little bit easier for them as we hear some team communication in the background.
Just listening to...
Yeah. Do indeed. Absolutely does make it easier for everyone watching on USO, which if you are, great to have your company as always. As I just finish up in the booth, we should have Tom Cairns joining us very, very shortly to talk you through this one alongside, of course, JT, who will be remaining as per usual, one of the legends of IndyCar here on JB Motorsports.
P51 Mustang Flyer in the chat, and if you are a P51 Mustang Flyer, that is a pretty cool thing to be able to fly, I will be honest with you there. Why did everyone pit super early? Because the black primary hard tyres favour this circuit more than the green alternate soft tyres, which they had to start the race on as well. On board with Pato O'Ward as we head down the front stretch. Under the starters, gantry with Aaron Likens on it. I believe he's in his 6th year, I want to say, of being the official IndyCar starter. And we are working lap 19 of 90.
Yep, and the drivers are working their way through around this incredible circuit, which, as you mentioned, even though in terms of on-track action, it may be quiet in terms of overtaking, but when you are around a circuit like this, there is a lot more going through the driver's head, lots more to contend with as well, as they think about the race ahead, the strategy that comes with it, and all of the plans that they would have debriefed before with their team beforehand to this Grand Prix getting underway.
Absolutely. And while we go into the podcast stage of the race, which we were always expecting, and we are getting ready to see if anything will happen. Lap 20 of 90 here at Long Beach. And you've not missed anything if you are watching on Fox. It's still Christian Lundgaard from Scott Dixon, Kiffin Simpson, Stingray Robb, and Santino Ferrucci. And, well, there is a watch party in Indianapolis. And, well, we are 42 days away from the 109th running of the Indianapolis 500. The month of May is not that far away, and we will have 2 weeks live coverage here on JB Motorsports. Every single session from the month of May live on JB Motorsports. Let's go down to trackside with Jack Carvey.
5 miles an hour. That's a lot of the rear tyres here, but turn one's one of the best overtaking zones. One of the most critical corners on the entire track. And honestly, I'm just having a great time watching people fly by. And also, shout out to all the fans. I'm looking in the grandstands. I was actually there on Friday amongst it. This place is absolutely packed, and I love to see it.
Mate, you're absolutely right. It is.
Yeah, absolutely packed for the 50th Grand Prix of Long Beach. It started in 1975. It went through, I believe it was Formula 5000, then it went to Formula 1, then it got handed over to INDYCAR, and it's been INDYCAR ever since. And now we're celebrating the 50th anniversary of this iconic race.
Yep, always great, and it's always amazing, of course, to be joined by all of the other series that we do, of course, yearly, when it all changes around, and of course we always do just get to enjoy the weekend. While sometimes the on-track action may not be as exciting, the atmosphere is always amazing around this place, and everything that definitely goes on off the circuit, it is really, really great to see, and it's a great place, and it's a great atmosphere to be at as well for everyone that is there, including our very own Jackson Lambros.
On board with Colton Herter, and on his top of the helmets, Herter's #1 fans, and he's got some cartoons of his dogs. Kevin Lee.
For Lundgaard to remember, this is a brand new car. He could have started up near the front in the Firestone Fast 6, but he crashed in qualifying, and they had to go to a spare tub today. So he's learning that car, but he said it feels the same. But just in general, he's still adjusting. He said the car feels very different than what he had at Ray Hall and at Lanigan. That might be bad news for everybody else, because he's finished 8th and 3rd in the first 2 races and has an opportunity here today.
One thing I noticed.
Thanks, Kevin Lee, down in pit road, on board with Christian Lundgaard. Down in towards turn 8, hits the apex. Down the backstretch, 3rd gear, 4th gear, 5th gear. Down into the braking zones, down to 2nd gear, 71 miles per hour. And then down in towards the hairpin. Minimum speed of 31 miles per hour as he exits down the front stretch, down to complete another lap. And Scott Dixon, well, he's been hovering around 2 seconds. He's now 1.888 seconds behind Christian Lundgaard.
Yes, indeed. So that gap continues to fluctuate in there as well, as the field just navigating their way through. Everyone running a different part of the circuit. We look at Scott Dixon, started in 14th, and currently is running in 2nd place, as you can see, directly behind Christian Lundgaard, who's also part, of course, of part of the Arrow McLaren team at the front of the field. Dixon in 2nd, Simpson 3rd, as you mentioned.
Yeah, and it helps Dixon with him starting as on the hard black primary tyres, which is why he's been able to start so low and get so high in the field, but that also gives him strategy with fuel and tyres a little bit later on. Track's getting hotter here at Long Beach, and we will see if it is a 2-stop or a 3-stop a little bit later on, because if the track's getting hotter, that will be the deciding factor only.
It will indeed. So that will play a major part in how this contest goes for the rest of the duration. And it's going to be really, really exciting to see how this one is going to end. Still a long way to go. Still a lot of action, hopefully, to see. And loads of racing and loads of storylines that will hopefully play out over the next bit of the race, all the way over to the checkered flag here in this 90-lap Long Beach race.
Lap 24 of 90, this weird laps completed graphic that we have here on JB Motorsports, and Fox just going to their third ad break of the day, still with Christian Lundgaard, Scott Dixon, Kiffin Simpson, Stingray Rob and Ferrucci in fifth, the fifth still down. The top 5 still the same as it has been for the past 10 laps, and Fox going to ad break with a tribute to John Edwards, who Hendricks Motorsports lost earlier on this weekend.
Yep, absolutely. So that's exactly what is the case right now at this stage as they continue pushing on around this circuit. And it's going to be a circuit that is getting definitely loads of different battles, loads of different people are making their way through. Could we see an overtake? Very neat.
An overtake at Long Beach. Are we dreaming?
Yeah, that's why I got so excited for a second. I thought we were going to see something. I thought we were going to get an overtake, a move. But no, it was only a half look, nothing else. And then it's back to the following behind each other train that we always have.
Yeah, absolutely. Shall we go down and check in with Tom Gaymore?
We should.
Since nothing else is going on.
For 17th and 18th spot, they got Pato O'Ward and Alexander Rossi ahead of them. They are on that strategy of the early stoppers. Been really impressed by David Malukas. Obviously had his challenges last year, was meant to be in the Papaya, then broke his wrist and then found the home elsewhere, and has now come into 2025 with lots of promise. AJ Foyt have that technical alliance with Team Penske. There's been a lot of noise around David Malukas taking Will Power's seat at Team Penske in 2026, and at the moment, as we see one of the Prema cars coming out of pit lane, David Malukas is delivering, and it's Will Power who's been under pressure, courtesy of his qualifying performances. Star of the race very much at Thermal in terms of the positions that he caught up.
Side by side, Rossi and Schwartzman out of pit road. And the top 5 is going to change. Stingray Bob has just gone down pit road. Lap 27 of 90, and your top 5 is Christian Lundgaard, Scott Dixon, Kiffin Simpson, Santino Ferrucci, and I believe Stingray Rob may have just kept his 5th place, even though he came down the pit road. That is how big some of the gaps are around this Long Beach circuit, Omi.
Yeah, that is exactly the case. There is such big gaps across the field that people can box. They can come in and they still find themselves in a decent position. That's how much the field has spread, and that's why we're also getting excited when we are seeing some of the side-by-side because we're not often getting it. And yes, there is a couple of trains people are struggling to make overtakes in those trains. Others just not able to stay on the back of contenders nearby as well. It's all happening. It's all changing about in this race in terms of following and field spread as well, quite a bit when it comes to our contestants. They're still all fighting away though with the car, and they're always close to the wall.
Santino Ferrucci has gone down pit road. Will he drop down positions or will he not? He's exited pit road now, and we watch to see if he drops down on board with Christian Lundgaard once again. Down the backstretch, third gear, fourth gear, fifth gear. Uses a couple of seconds of push to pass. He does shift up to sixth this time. Fifth, down to second, 76 miles per hour. Up to 94, down to 72 miles per hour. And then, once again, we lose the GUI overlay. And here comes Christian Lundgaard down to pit road. Let's see if we go down to pit road. No pit road at the moment, but Scott Dixon takes the lead of the race. Couple other pit crews getting ready, I saw.
And Dixon will come in the next lap. He was told, let's go. He's going to try to make up as much time and use the overcut by staying out a lap later. And for Christian Lundgaard, he's going to the softs this time. How long can he make them last?
Fascinating.
Couple of turns on the front wing for Christian Lundgaard, I saw on that pit stop as well. But Christian Lundgaard dropping down. Where will he come out? He will come out fifth or sixth. He'll come out sixth. So Rosenqvist up to fifth. Lundgaard down to sixth. Waiting for Scott Dixon to head down pit road. Will anyone join him down in pit road? We will have to see. Here comes Scott Dixon down into pit road. Does anyone join him? Does Kiffin Simpson join him? Yes, he does. Kiffin Simpson in as well. Dixon and Simpson down pit road 1 and 2. What will Dixon go to? Let's go down to Kevin.
And he's doing the same strategy as Lundgaard. He's going to get his mandatory stint with the softs, the green sidewall Firestones on this time. And what is going to be fascinating is to watch the blend. That is a quick stop for the PNC Bank crew and the Honda of Chip Ganassi Racing. He screams down to turn 1. Who's going to have the advantage between him and Lundgaard on that strategy?
That stop look
great.
So Lundgaard is on Shoreline Drive right now. As there he is.
Dixon out. Will he get?
Here comes Dixon. It's going to be very tight. Lundgaard just gets in front of Dixon and keeps the position. And where did the other of Kiffin Simpson disappear to? And Kiffin Simpson was down to, if I can see his name, he's still in second apparently, but that is not true. Kiffin Simpson down in 9th place as well. Lap 30 of 90, we are a third through the 50th Grand Prix of Long Beach, and we go picture-in-picture replay, and this is Scott McLaughlin. That is how close Scott Dixon was coming back out to pit road, back to full screen and live as we complete another lap. It's Carl Kirkwood back in the lead, our pole sitter, and then it's Alex Blow, Felix Rosenqvist, Christian Lundgaard and Scott Dixon, your top 5. Lap 31 of 90. As I thought we were going down to Tom Gaymore and another ad break for Fox, but I got fooled by Will Buxton. Down there, Christian Rasmussen is coming down pit road, the number 21. And that is his second stop of the day, the first second stop of the day. as we will quickly refresh the audio on the side of the US event site. So go to World Feed while we do that.
To pass, it's about a 50 horsepower boost. And Kirkwood doing a great job maintaining the lead and still having 170 seconds. Palou behind with 156. Rosie behind him, 151, as they come up on Christian Rasmussen to put him a lap down.
Recommend stiffer on the rear bar. Let us know if the front axle goes.
The voice of Brian Barnhart going to Christian Lundgaard saying stiffer on the rear bar. That's the rear anti-roll bar. That's essentially trying to take a little bit of rear grip away from it, shift the balance forward. He said, let us know if the front axle goes. So this guy is just battling understeer right now.
Strategies converging. Kirkwood leads from Palou and Rosenqvist. Lundgaard and Dixon, 4th and 5th. It's getting very tight.
As Fox go to another ad break, it's Kirkwood, Palou, Rosenqvist, Lundgaard, Dixon, your top 5. Let's go back to Tom Gamer.
And Alex Palou very close to Carl Kirkwood, and that's the danger of the lift and coast here, is you come under threat from those using their battery and hybrid behind. And for Alex Palou, he's obviously stayed on the throttle longer than Carl Kirkwood. What I mean by that is that when we go on board with Kirkwood, he's lifting off of full throttle a long time before the braking zone. A bit like we hear or see in Formula E racing, and that's because he's trying to minimize the amount of time he's on full throttle because he wants to fuel save. He's trying to hit a number, and all the while he does that, he's got Alex Palou, who's still trying to do the same thing, but came very, very close to the coming up the inside into turn 1 there. So everyone has stopped. Carl Kirkwood leads from Palou. Felix Rosenqvist is 3rd. And then you've got the likes of Christian Lundgaard and Scott Dixon, who are outliers here because they have got that green tyre on that we don't know how far they're going to be able to take it. It's been very, very interesting now to see one or two others start to drop into pit lane. So I think that was Felix Rosenqvist who's dropped into pit lane. I think Joseph Newgarden has also pushed the button and hit pit lane. So there are runners now starting to opt in on their second stop, and that is because they went very, very early on their first stop. So that's about right now. They've done probably 30 laps or so on that tank of fuel, and so they've bled the 18.5 gallon fuel tank dry, and they're coming in for new boots and more fuel as we see Carl Kirkwood and Palou still circulating. All the while that they're circulating, they're actually a little bit vulnerable, and it's Palou who's jumped first, and that's why we saw Palou getting racy behind, because he knew that he was into pit lane before or a lap later. So Kirkwood continues to lead, Palou into pit lane. We've got multiple runners in now who stopped early in for their second stop, and that's going to change the order as we saw the likes of Marcus Ericsson and Alexander Rossi struggle with the overcut after the first stop. What are they going to do this time around? And there's plenty of runners into pit lane. I'm going to hand back to Will Buxton, T-Bell and Hinch, and they're going to take us through this next set of stops.
GT IndyCar Series on Fox live from the Acura Grand Prix of Long Beach. As you can see there, Alex Palou leaving pit lane where he has been serviced and sent on his way back on the hard tire, and he had to do that. Felix Rosenqvist had come in from 3rd place. The question now is how much longer can Kyle Kirkwood go before he comes in to take his stop?
At 0, he's coming in the pits right now, guys. A leader of this race responding to what Chip Ganassi Racing and the 10 has done. So now it all comes down, Jack, to the pit crews and the outlaps.
Absolutely it does. I was chatting to the team. What they were hoping for happened. Alex Palou had to pit first. They're literally now doing his pit stop. No wing change. This outlap is so critical. Kevin, what's happening where you are?
waiting to see Colton Herta. He'll be the next one up near the front, stopping from his position inside the top 6. Everyone is satisfied as Herta is in the tire requirement except for Stingray Robb. He has not run the soft green sidewalls yet. Everyone else likely done with the greens.
Thank you to the World Feed and Tom Gaynor in the Sky F1 spot for us this season once again. Well, in football terms, it's the 36th lap, and we've done a substitution. Off is Omi, and on is the one and only Tom Cairns. And if I can find where my mouse is, I will press the button and I'll bring him up to the commentary box. Hello.
Hello, Josh. How are we?
I very nearly got killed by an exploding tyre, but I'm here and I'm alive with a very podcasty Long Beach race.
I see. You know, it's been. I'd assume not too much has happened really, although Alex Palou is going for a hat-trick of victories to, well, basically defend his INDYCAR title this time around. And but it feels to me like we're in this pit stop stage, so it looks like the leaderboard for this one is not exactly the pecking order as it would have been before the pit stop window had arrived. So I don't know what strategies each of the drivers are doing, but yeah, it feels to me like we're in this sort of strategy phase. So we've got the soft compound for the top 4 that are running at the moment, with Stingray Bob, or Stingray Rob if you call it. He's running on the hard compound tyre at the moment.
Yeah, let me make you confused. We had people diving into the pit lane at the end of lap 1 for strategy. And then we had the leaders come in a couple of laps later. Basically, they found out as Scott Dixon is coming down pit road, so we'll see if there is. Yes, there is. We'll go down to Kevin Lee.
Time Dixon stayed out the lap later than Christian Lundgaard. This time he's going to come in at least 1 lap earlier. There's no movement in the Arrow McLaren 7 pit box at this point. Let's watch the PNC Bank crew. It was quick the first time, but not as quick this time. A little bobble on the right rear, so they've lost a little bit of time on this stop.
Big problems for the number 9 team. Yeah, we found out in practice and warm-up and qualifying that this is a black hard primary tyre circuit, not a green Turner soft tyre. So everyone that started on the alternate tyres changed very quickly over to the hard tyres, and you must run each compound. It is a little bit like Formula 1 with having to run each compound, as that is a good move from McLaughlin straight up the inside of, that is the number 9, Scott Dixon, and Scott Dixon is about to lose 2 places here, and that's Joseph Newgarden up the inside.
It is, and it's only down to the fact that Dixon has only just put those tyres on, so his tyres won't be up to the optimal window at this early stage. It's a bit like with Formula 2 where you need a couple of laps, get the tyres into the optimal window before you start attacking the corners as you would do normally. And there it goes. Who's that coming through up the inside there?
Colton Herta.
That'll be Colton Herta, won't it? Yeah, so that is Herta through past Dixon. I don't know if Herta was behind Dixon before the pit window had started. My assumption is that he was not, but don't take my word for it.
Yeah, the pit window technically hasn't ended because we've got people doing the second stops when we've got people doing their first stops. It's very confusing. It's just a classic Long Beach race, which is very, very processional. And then when it's pit stops, there's a little bit of side-by-side action, possibly. Highest rookie, that is our Prima car, number 83. And that is, of course, the 83 of Robert Schwartzman in that car. Christian Lundgaard, Stingray Rob are your first and second, and this is McLaughlin going up the inside of Clifton Simpson, who has just come out of pit road. So as you mentioned a little bit earlier on, Tom, his tyre's not up to temperature yet.
Yeah, it's nice to see Robert Schwartzman up as high as he is. The last lap that he had pitted was at the end of lap 25. So thinking of it, it's not too long ago since he came in. He's making the most of the tyres he is on currently. Robert Schwartzman rejoining acquaintances with the Prima team from when he raced with them during the junior days of Formula 2 and Formula 3 a few years ago. Very nice to see him on the INDYCAR stage. I have also seen him race in the World Endurance Championship in the past too. So it's a man who is coming in with an abundance of experience, that's for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And just to keep you updated with the TV graphics, Tom, if you have a look, as this is Christian Lundgaard coming into pit road, if you look at the lap counter on the TV screen, it says 39 of 90. It'll soon say 40 of 90 when Christian Lundgaard or Stingray Rob crosses over the line. That, you would think that's the lap they're on. That's laps completed. It's not confusing at all. So we've just started lap 41 of 90.
Angled, it's difficult to get the fuel squared in perfectly, and this stop needs to be really, really quick because it won't take very long to fuel. Tires are done, fuel is done, Christian Lundgaard is out. How does he compare to Dixon?
Away he goes. But yeah, very not confusing at all, is it? Having laps completed looking like it's the lap they're on.
Yeah, because otherwise it would be saying lap next to the number lap, wouldn't it? So it kind of makes sense. Pretty much like almost the old days of F1, but the exact opposite, where it's like the number of laps completed instead of the number of laps remaining. So we've got 50 laps to go here in Long Beach, round 3 of the NTT IndyCar Series of 2025. Alex Palou, who's won the opening 2 rounds, is running in 4th position on the road. But bearing in mind, some drivers will be on different strategies to others. And there we see that is Felix Rosenqvist going up the inside of Christian Lundgaard, and for simple reasons, and that's because Lundgaard's tyres won't be up to temperature yet.
Yeah, Felix Rosenqvist up into 5th. So now it's Stingray Rob, Robert Schwartzman, Carl Kirkwood, Alex Palou, and Felix Rosenqvist, your top 5. Lap 42 of 90, and they lead. The gap of between first and second is 9.687 seconds as Fox go to their next ad break. And continuing on, let's go further down the field for you with the battle screen. So Stingray Rob, Robert Schwartzman, Carl Kirkwood, Alex Palou, Rosenqvist in top 5. Then it's Lundgaard, McLaughlin, Newgard and Herter, Simpson your top 10. Dixon, Power, Ferrucci, Ericsson, O'Ward, top 15. Then further down it is Rossi, Rahal, Malukas, Armstrong, Louis Foster rounds out the top 20. And then Venus, VK, Nolan Siegel, Christian Rasmussen, Callum Ilott, Devlin Di Francesco rounds out the top 25. And then your final 2 cars running round the track, Connor Daly and Jacob Abel, as we return back up to the cameras. And we are on board with, I believe, the 7 of Stingray Rob, who is our leader by 9.8 seconds, Tom.
Yeah, just looking at the previous race winners of the Grand Prix of Long Beach, Scott Dixon winning last year's one. Before him it was Kyle Kirkwood, then Joseph Newgarden and Colton Herter won in 2021. And then you go to Alexander Rossi, who won in 2018 and 2019 before the cancelled race in 2020 due to COVID-19. But it's a good race so far for Alex Palou and for Stingray Rob, who is up there. Stingray Rob, who I don't think has tasted victory in the IndyCar series before, but he's doing a fine job ahead of Robert Schwartzman. As you've rightly mentioned, he is a rookie in this series for 2025. And yeah, really looking forward to see what the strategy is going to play out as we continue on lap 43.
Yeah, absolutely. As we get ready to rejoin with Fox once again, Stingray Rob, no wins, no podiums, no poles. He was in Indy Lights 2021 to 2022, and then Star Mazda / IndyCar 2000 from 2017 to 2020. 34 races run over 2 years. From Idaho, born on September the 3rd, 2001. That's a little bit unfortunate. But coming up It is lap 44 of 90. And we will be rejoining Fox with Will Buxton and co. Stingray Rob, Robert Schwartzman, Carl Kirkwood, Alex Palou, Felix Bosenquist, your top 5 to be rejoined with Fox. Welcome back to viewers watching on Fox and viewers listening on Synced Up on USRN2, the Ultimate Sports Radio Network. Joined here with Tom Kearns as we switch out to Omi with Tom a little bit earlier on, and a little bit of a wave from Stingray Rob as he went down. I think that was a thank you. I believe that was his teammate who let him by. I think that is what happened there.
It felt like it, didn't it? Otherwise, he would have just let him by that easily, would he? But it's a fine race so far from Dixon, the 6-time INDYCAR champion, who hasn't won the championship for a few years now. His last championship, you have to go back to 2020. But he's never had back-to-back INDYCAR titles. His first one coming in 2003. Then in 2008, then 2013, 2015, 2018, and his most recent in 2020. And that was when the championship went down to the last round at St. Petersburg that season, which is ironic because St. Petersburg would normally be the first race of the campaign.
It's weird having St. Petersburg as a title decider, I will say that. Alex Palou through the hairpin, and that is a remote-controlled camera that they've got on a metal post above the apex of that corner down there at the absolute legendary hairpin in the final corner.
We're into the second half of the race with Stingray Rob, your current race leader, over 10 seconds clear of the Formula 2 runner-up of 2021, Robert Schwartzman, who's previously part of the Ferrari setup, now over in the States and enjoying life so far. As far as his season has been going in 2025, looking at his previous results, he has picked up a 20th position at the opening round in St. Petersburg and in race 2 at the Thermal Club INDYCAR Grand Prix in Thermal, and he picked up a 22nd place there. But this is a much better showing from Schwartzman compared to the previous 2 rounds.
Yeah, absolutely, into our West Coast stage of the calendar. And next time, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, Tom, as I quickly, frantically grab the schedule up, I believe, if I remember correctly, we are at Alabama and Barber. Yes, we are on the 2nd to the 4th of May, so a little bit of a break before the next one, but then again they have to go to the other side of the country.
They very much know their way around the Alabama course as the season continues to go from state to state. It's a lovely series, is INDYCAR, the INDYCAR series. A lot of drivers coming up through the ranks, and we are enjoying what we are seeing. This look through about Connor Daly, who I do rate as a racing driver. I remember him competing in the GP3 series in 2012. Some remember him for that accident he had in Monaco when he was fighting with someone who had already lost his rear wing, and through the poorest of driving standards, he was trying to get past him, but then the driver had just moved across far too late, and he ended up crashing into the catch fencing and nearly going into the harbour, which was not very pleasant by any means.
Yeah, absolutely, and I've just been told that NASCAR is also a little bit of a dead race as well. Shall we have a little bit of fun while we are in a little bit of a quiet period, Tom?
Go ahead.
All right, let me get our favourite, my 3rd Discord alt account, because I have so many, because there's so many different commentary boxes and laptops. And let me just quickly log in, and we will join the NASCAR Discord commentary box. Let's go down to the world feed while I set this up. This is going to be fun.
His previous best, 12th, as Felix Rosenquist been chatting with his team on pit lane. Let's listen.
All right, Felix, no more push to pass. We'd like to go to red 3. Be smart with your tires. And we need an average of fuel 93.
So that's the team telling Felix, hey, stay off the push to pass because when you use it, we're burning too much fuel. So they're starting to calculate what it's going to take to make it to the end on one more stop.
And that's interesting. He's saying no more push to pass. Felix right now sitting at 63 seconds remaining. To keep that into perspective, the Kyle Kirkwood car, 125 seconds still remaining. So it's definitely been a trigger-happy afternoon so far for Rosie as he's been trying to maintain that position, keep that good streak here at Long Beach alive. But let's take a look back further in the grid. Newgarden, first guy to get off those softs, Jack, and how's progress going for the number 2?
The team are very happy. Kind of carrying on the conversation about fuel. They were the first people to blink. They pit very early. They do have to save a little bit. Tim told me that they're happy with the car, they're happy with what they've got to do, and also, just fun fact, Joseph's on a run of 9 straight top 10s at this track, so pretty nice recovery from him and his team so far today.
Don't you jinx him, Jack Harvey. Don't you jinx him. Joseph Newgarden, who won this race back in 2022. There he is in the Astemo Chevy. Colton Herter behind him, laying down the laps here on the streets of Long Beach. Stingray Rob still leads Robert Schwartzman.
Yeah, when we talk about Team Penske and Joseph Newgarden having a solid afternoon, I mentioned it in the last break, but just looking down the timing, Marcus Ericsson, Pato O'Ward, Alexander Rossi, all drivers that we've seen challenging much further up today as Joe New having a little look there.
Okay, let's not absolutely storm into the NASCAR broadcast because they have just finished their race and they've got all post-race interviews. So we'll do that a little bit later after they've done it because I don't think I want to be slaughtered by JB. Back to the actual race which is going on. We have just completed lap 50 of 90. We're on to lap 51 of 90. And it's Stingray Rob, Robert Schwartzman, Kyle Kirkwood, Alex Palou and Felix Rosenquist. Back in the top 5.
It's a brilliant race we've seen in Long Beach as well. Previous home of a Formula 1 Grand Prix, not since 1983, I think. That's the last time they raced there, but I think that's remembered also for John Watson's phenomenal drive from the back of the field. 22nd it was up to the race when the lowest grid position for a race winner to start from. It's quite phenomenal when you think of it.
Has been a 3-stop race in the end. 2 more stops after the very early stoppers on the greens, and it is Kyle Kirkwood who continues to look strong from Alex Palou and Felix Rosenquist. Stingray Rob, Robert Schwartzman, they last stopped 25 laps ago, so they will be in very, very soon. Now, Will Power, we've seen him making hay whilst the sun shines, getting away past Kiffin Simpson. He's now trying to get past, and this is lapped traffic. Jacob Abel in the Dale Coyne car ahead of him. The next position up the road for Will Power will be Colton Herter. You can see Colton Herter's machine. There he goes. Colton Herter complaining about a balance on his car that he's just not happy with. Jacob Abel getting out of the way on Shoreline Drive, is he? Don't forget Will Power's trying to hit a number. Kiffin Simpson wants to follow him through. And yes, they make it through up into turn 1. Scott Dixon now staring at the rear wing of that Dale Coyne machine. And all the while, he has got Santino Ferrucci behind him.
Lap 53 of 90, Stingray Rob, Robert Schwartzman, Kyle Kirkwood, Alex Palou, Felix Rosenquist, your top 5 as we return to live pictures on Fox. Welcome back to anyone who is watching on Fox and have synced up the TV pictures. And, well, Stingray Rob has come down pit road, Tom.
Yep, so this is a chance for him to make amends with this pit stop. I don't know what tyres he's looking to go on, whether he's looking to go on the harder compound. I don't know if he'll try and go to the end of the race on that. As you rightly mentioned, they've got to use dry compounds in a dry IndyCar race. And we are continuing to see there's one of the Prima drivers. That'll be Robert Schwartzman, who is the new race leader on track ahead of Kyle Kirkwood. And Alex Palou, the championship leader, running in 3rd place. And it's Rosenqvist and Lundgaard, your top 5. Robert Schwartzman, who started the event from 24th position, is into the lead. But how far will he continue to go on the current set that he is going through? He's coming up to one of the back markers, I believe.
Yeah, one of the back markers. That is, I believe, the pink Cross Hollywood Racing. Yes, it is. And here comes Schwartzman down into pit road. He'll have to stop another time no matter what, even if it's fuel or tyres, because of how early he has pitted. Will we get a pit road report from Kevin Lee? I will have a listen out as we're on board with Kyle Kirkwood. He started on pole and now he leads once again. He clipped the curb a little bit too much on the inside of the curb, I noticed, with the jump of the camera. Lap 54 of 90. Kyle Kirkwood, Alex Palou, Felix Rosenqvist, Christian Lundgaard, Scott McLaughlin, your top 5, as Fox go back to another ad break. Laps since last pit: Kirkwood 19, Palou 20, Rosenqvist 21, Lundgaard 14, McLaughlin 21 as well, Tom, as we are past halfway of this 50th anniversary Grand Prix of Long Beach.
In case you're wondering who that back marker was that Schwartzman got onto the rear of, I believe that was Connor Daly. Because the only driver lapped in the race before Schwartzman was back to lap it would have been Jacob Abel, who was down in last position. We're right on board with Colton Herter. Some saying that he may be a Formula 1 candidate for the Cadillac seat in 2026. We've got no idea as to what their plans will be in terms of driver lineup for next year, but that's a conversation for another day. It's a lovely shot of the helmet cam. This is Kyle Kirkwood, I believe, going through the right-hander before one of the back straights.
Yeah, on board with Kyle Kirkwood, and, well, the Cadillac seat is open. It is so open that we have absolutely no idea. There's so many drivers as well. We jump on the T-cam for Formula 1, the T-cam angle of Colton Herter. As we continue round, slowly clicking off the laps, and top 5 still unchanged. It's only changing when we have the pit stop at the single file. Everyone on the black hard primaries, other than Robert Schwartzman and Stingray Rob, they are on the greens primary tyres. Tom, thoughts on IndyCar so far?
I've enjoyed it so far, this one, since I've come in. It looks like Kirkwood has got it under control for the time being, but I'm conscious of how far he needs to go on his rubber, because some may have gone onto the hard compound just now. We saw Schwartzman go into the pit lane, as well as Stingray Rob, and now Kirkwood has got Alex Palou looming in behind his mirrors. So can Palou push as hard as he can? I don't know how much push to pass he's got left in comparison to what Kirkwood has got.
Kirkwood 125, Palou 96, Rosenqvist 63, Lundgaard 103, Scott McLaughlin 63.
Kirkwood's got so much, but that's because he's not been needing to use it whilst he's been in the lead for a period of time before the pit stops had started.
Lap 57 of 90 here, round the streets of Long Beach. And it is still Kyle Kirkwood, Alex Palou, Felix Rosenqvist, Christian Lundgaard, Scott McLaughlin, your top 5. You have not missed a thing while you have been ad breaks on Fox. Don't worry, nothing happened. Robert Schwartzman has just set 2 personal bests in a row, a 1 minute 09.050 and now a 1 minute 08.710. Robert Schwartzman has to pit again, but he is flying at the moment.
Maintaining, well, keeping within 2 seconds of Kirkwood as they continue to make their way through one of the back markers. I didn't quite see who that was. I think it was Connor Daly who got out of the way of the pair of them. And so Palou can just get on with the job and go after Kyle Kirkwood. The next back marker that Kirkwood will have to negotiate is potentially going to be Devlin Di Francesco, who I've not seen too much of actually since he raced in Formula 3 in 2019 when he was a Trident driver. So we're going to see a recap actually of the race. Kyle Kirkwood from a pole position, getting off to a reasonable start, it has to be said, before the pit stops of the ride. This is Joseph Newgarden coming into the pits. Yeah, this was very early on in the race actually. I don't know whether they were just wanting to get rid of the hard compound tyres.
They wanted to get rid of the softs and go on the hards.
That very much explains that the soft tyres presumably falling away on this course. And heading towards the first proper corner of the racetrack. There you can just see the McLaren Junior car coming out of the pit lane, I believe, or one of the McLarens, the McLaren Arrow, or the Arrow McLaren, as I was trying to get my words out for. But either way, that is pretty much all you really need to know for as far as this race is concerned. I assume from what I have seen, I didn't see the opening 25 laps or so, but it hasn't exactly been the most thrilling race compared to what we've seen in others.
Probably the reason why JB decided to miss this, because he wanted to go to Bristol, but then Bristol became a snooze fest, so the lose-lose after a 46-stream marathon weekend here on JB Motorsports and USON.
Keep doing what you're doing.
Team communications there. We heard keep doing what you're doing for Kyle Kirkwood as he goes through the fountain section, Tom.
It's a very nice section actually with the fountain. It's very rare we see any crashes going on through there, so in the fountain, which is not exactly the most pleasant thing to be seeing. Palou seems to have got the gap down a little bit. It was something like 1.7, 1.8 seconds about a lap or two ago. Now he's getting it down to 1.4 seconds. Palou beginning to get the hammer down and make a race of it with Kirkwood.
Yeah, and I believe no push to pass is being used for Kyle Kirkwood. No, it isn't. I think 3 seconds push to pass was used for Alex Palou. Yes, it was, as he was on 93. Now he is on 90. There is a look at all of the tyres, and as you can see, everyone is on the hards, other than Stingray Rob and Robert Schwartzman on the softs.
The laps are continuing to wind down. Schwartzman rejoining in 19th position after his latest pit stop. In front of him is Louis Foster, who's also another rookie. Louis Foster graduating from the Indy NXT, or formerly Indy Lights Championship. For those who are unfamiliar with that particular series, it's essentially the feeder series of INDYCAR before we see some of them go on to race in this particular series of the NTT INDYCAR series. This is the third race out of 17. We go to Barber Motorsports Park afterwards, and it's to the Indianapolis Motor Speedway for the Grand Prix event, and it's the Indy 500 towards the end of May. Then it's off to Detroit and Gateway for rounds 7 and 8. We've got Road America on the... Just trying to find the dates for Road America, actually. Just lost track a little bit, but it is a 17-race calendar.
June, I want to say.
It is the 22nd of June for Road America. It's Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course on the 6th, and it's a double-header at the Iowa Speedway on the 12th and 13th of July. It's off to the exhibition place in Toronto on the 20th of July, and it's the Firestone Grand Prix of Monterey at Laguna Seca on the 27th. It's a very busy month for INDYCAR, that's for absolutely certain. And it's the final run-in Portland International Raceway on the 10th of August. It's Milwaukee Mile on August the 24th, and the season finale being in Nashville Super Speedway in Lebanon, Tennessee on August the 31st.
Yep, Nashville Super Speedway, which is not a super speedway. It's not confusing at all. That's just what they decided to name it. because we thought we couldn't be gaslit by a speedway, but there we are, it's happened. And down to pit road is the number 2 of Joseph Newgarden. And of course, schedule changes for 2025. The race at the Thermal Club, which was the previous race, was a points race. Laguna Seca and St. Louis swapped spots on the calendar. The Milwaukee Mile will be a single race and not a double header. And the race distance has increased at these laps. At these tracks. Long Beach, an additional 5 laps. Total distance 90 laps. Additional 10 laps in Mid-Ohio, total distance 90 laps. Additional 25 laps to Iowa, 275 laps. An additional 5 laps to 90 laps at Toronto, an additional 19 laps to make it 225 laps at Nashville. Let's go down to the world feed and see what they're saying.
In there, but Kev, 7's in.
Christian Lundgaard making his final stop. By the way, the last to win a race for this team, other than Pato Award, is you, James Hinchcliffe.
That is true. That is true. Some years ago, Kev, but we did it here once, back in 2017. And I really like the strategy these guys did. Christian was quick all weekend long. You know, I've been really harping on how impressed I've been with his transition to McLaren. This is a car that has been a struggle for other guys to drive other than Pato Award. This team's been built around him. The setup's been built around him as we see more trouble for Joseph Newgarden. You might be right, Seatbelt. That might be a seatbelt issue. It's easy to do here because of the hairpin. You do such a big crossover with your hands and arms. Sometimes you can just catch the release.
This is bizarre. I mean, we don't hear about seatbelts coming loose, but for the same team to have that issue after Will Power had it, I am just really shocked as Felix Rosenqvist makes his final stop.
And this is key for the last step on that podium, because we saw Lundgaard come in. He was trying to get that stop, get out on track, and hopefully make the time up. But as we've seen today, the overcut traditionally is the one that works. Where does Rosie come out in relation to Lundgaard? We're moments away from finding out. Lundgaard's tires will be up to temperature. Rosenqvist will have to push on regardless. And so far,
there goes Rosie. The 7 is behind him, so Lundgaard's still back there by a good chunk. You see it up there on the map. And he's now got 2 cars in between him, so just advantage to Rosenqvist.
So easy peasy for Newgarden to lose a lap now and basically be totally taken out of it. Was doing such a great job. It advanced so many positions. The gambles appear.
Update. I officially gate crashed the NASCAR broadcast. It was mission successful. Back to the race, which is not happening because it is a lap procession around the streets of Long Beach. Felix Rosenqvist we are on board with, and Joseph Newgarden behind. Yes, we are looking at 26th place. Get used to it. It's Fox. They look at anything these days, including children doing a salute they're not meant to be doing.
What a disaster going on at Team Penske. The fact they had to rebuckle Joseph Newgarden's seatbelts, and that's heavily compromised his race all the way to the end. Kyle Kirkwood, whose last victory in the championship, you have to go all the way to 2023 in Nashville, on the Nashville Street Circuit in Tennessee, to last see him win for the Andretti team. Didn't pick up a win last year, but it looks to be on course for his first win for over 18 months.
Absolutely. As we are continuing on, I'm just messaging the Oracle Matthew Owens. So Tom, if you would like to talk about something that's happening, I guess if something's happening, I don't know at this point.
Well, we are seeing from an aerial view, we've got a pit stop going on. I think this is over at Chip Ganassi. This is the number 10 of Alex Palou, who's made his way into his box. The hard tyres going on again. This should take him to the end, I think, Josh, because he's gone into the hard compound once more. They look brand new as well. So I just wonder if Alex Palou, this is an attempt of an undercut on Kirkwood, I would have thought.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm just saying to Matthew Owens, come join another snooze fest if you would like, because Matthew was disappointed that he was missing Long Beach race. There we go. Lap 65 of 90. And here is Carl Kirkwood, the leader, down in pit road. Let's go to battle screen and let's go down pit road to Jack Harvey.
He's literally just about to hit his marks. The most important 2 laps of the entire weekend now for Carl Kirkwood and the Andretti team are literally happening. That in lap, this out lap, slight hiccup there I would say, but pretty smooth. He's going to hustle as hard as he can down to turn 1 and hopefully get out ahead of the Palou.
Yeah, slight delay as Will Buxton is reporting. We saw it as well. Coming down, will he beat Alex Palou? That is the person he is wanting to. You can see it on the driver tracker if you're watching along with us. Look at the number 10. He's going down the front stretch. It's going to be very close. It's going to be very close. Here is the camera of pit exit. Here is Kirkwood exits. There's Palou. Kirkwood through turn 1. Carl Kirkwood keeps the net lead of the Grand Prix of Long Beach, Tom. Good pit stop, even though a slight delay getting off.
Yeah, but Palou will be on the tyres that are warmer to what Kirkwood is on. So this is a chance for Palou to make the most of it. He still obviously has the push to pass if he wants to use it, but he won't have as much push to pass as what Kirkwood will have. Kirkwood will be using this push to pass to just pull away if he can, especially on the straights of the Chip Ganassi that's looming in behind. But yeah, this is a pivotal point in the race where Kirkwood needs to just get his elbows out a little bit if he has to and just fend off Palou for the time being. This is the most critical point in the race where Kirkwood's race could be won or lost.
Yeah, absolutely. As Dixon has headed down pit road, so Kirkwood and Palou will move up to second. Here we go. Palou using push to pass. As he heads down, Palou has only got 35 seconds of push to pass. Carl Kirkwood, 74 seconds of push to pass.
Just going through the roundabout there of the fountain. And Kirkwood using all of his push to pass available. He's got a huge advantage now, Josh, because with the superior amount of push to pass available, he's got 69 seconds of push to pass, whereas Alex Palou will get an update to see how much push to pass he's got left. I think he's got something like 30 seconds, no more than that left for the Chip Ganassi driver, the reigning champion of the series. Yeah, it's very much in Kirkwood's hands to win this race.
Kiffin Simpson 40 seconds, Scott Dixon 87 seconds, Carl Kirkwood 74 seconds. And as we start lap 68 of 90, it's Kiffin Simpson, Carl Kirkwood, Alex Palou, Felix Rosenqvist and Christian Lundgaard, your top 5 as Fox head off to an ad break. Once again, let's go down and join Tom Gaymore, our friend and colleague, and see what he has to say.
Soaked up so much pressure from Alex Palou, and we were all on the edge of our seats there. If anyone can, Palou can, but Carl Kirkwood drove a sensational outlap there. Very, very easy to make a mistake, but he is in the groove, and there's nothing Alex Palou can do at the moment, because that Andretti car of Carl Kirkwood, in the mood that he's in now, is looking very, very good, but without putting the commentator's curse on him. There's 23 laps to go, but you gotta feel it was all in that final stop. Can Palou find something up his sleeve to rein back Carl Kirkwood and that Andretti car? There's not going to be too much in the way of fuel saving in this last stint. They've done the majority of that in that middle stint. So now it's Kirkwood with Palou. 6 seconds back, Felix Rosenqvist. He's got a sort of 6-second buffer on Lundgaard. What a fantastic job Lundgaard's done. Started 12th after the disappointment of his shunt yesterday in that fast 6th session. And, well, Christian Lundgaard in that fast 12 session, that stopped him going through to the fast 6. And that now is a distant memory, as he's looking very, very good, leading that Arrow McLaren team, as he has really since he's come in, he's looked very, very good, and it's Pato O'Ward that's looked a little bit out of sorts, a little bit on the back foot, a little bit like he's feeling the pressure, whilst Christian Lundgaard is just looking very, very comfortable, very, very calm, and he's just learning all the while, making that car suit his driving style. He said at the opening round at St. Pete, they went there with a base setup that Pato O'Ward has built around him over the last few seasons, but Thermal, he took a step in his direction. They went with a base setup that suited him. They've done the same thing here at Long Beach, and Christian Lundgaard looking very, very good. He's got Scott McLaughlin there about 5 seconds behind him, and then behind Scotty Mack is Colton Herta. Colton Herta still hold up behind those that Team Penske rear wing as we look now. 21 laps to go here at Long Beach.
And with 21 laps to go, lap 70 of 90. Carl Kirkwood, Alex Palou, Felix Rosenqvist, Christian Lundgaard and Scott McLaughlin, your top 5. Here is the moment of the race by Penzl for Fox. This is Kirkwood coming out of pit road and having to defend from Alex Palou, and he was able to, Tom Cairns, with me up in the box. That was, well, it's been a snooze fest of the race. That was definitely the moment of the race. 21 to go.
Yeah, absolutely. Kirkwood's race to lose. As it stands, he'll go up into second place in the championship. Palou will still obviously maintain his healthy lead at the top of the championship. He could just keep this championship mentality in his mind and not just try and go for the win, then there's every chance that Palou will become champion again this season. O'Ward has been off it. He's outside the top 10 at the moment. He's running in 15. Dixon running in 9th. Lundgaard 4th in the championship coming into this round. 4th place in this one. Rosenqvist on course for a podium. He was 5th in the championship coming into this. But Kirkwood is going to be the biggest gainer, obviously, because of the victory he's about to pick up here today, and a well-deserved one if it remains as it is.
Lap slowly ticking down here around the streets of Long Beach, on board with Carl Kirkwood, looking back to Alex Palou. Driver's eye with Carl Kirkwood going through the final sector of the lap in towards the hairpin. Look how close. Looks in, look how close they get to the apex of the hairpin. You could see Carl Kirkwood's head move so he can get his visual for the inside apex of the hairpin. Down in towards turn 1. Good apex there, in towards the famous fountain section. Just avoids the wall on the outside.
To correct myself on the positions, Dixon is running in 8th place. I didn't quite see where O'Ward is on the timing tower because it just keeps toggling between. He's 13th, isn't he? Yeah, but it's Kirkwood who move up into 2nd place as it stands. O'Ward, Dixon and Lundgaard will drop down, but Palou will still be a country mile ahead at the top going into the next round in Alabama later this month, or into May, I should say.
Bear in mind, Carl Kirkwood has more than double the amount of push to pass Alex Palou has. Carl Kirkwood has 66 seconds of push to pass remaining, and Alex Palou has 32 seconds of push to pass remaining. They haven't used any in the first couple of laps and in the last remaining laps as well. P51 Mustang Flyer has got to meet Kirkwood, and he and his crew seem like super nice people. It would be the best win for him. It would absolutely, and that was Newgarden wide at turn 5, clipping the tyre wall and bringing the advertising down. Of course, Carl Kirkwood, he has won this race before, hasn't he, Tom?
Looking at the stats of him in 2023, he did win in Long Beach, so this will be the 2nd time he has won on this circuit. And he's been a really strong driver since he's come into the series. It's been a very unlucky time of it for him because I think the potential in the man is better than what the results he's had in this series suggest. He was phenomenal during the Indy Lights series in 2021, where he took a run of victories to the title, 10 in total from 20 races, which is absolutely sensational from him. And I think if he keeps up the way he's doing, he could find himself as a future champion of the INDYCAR series in the years to come.
Yeah, absolutely. Kyle Kirkwood, Alex Palou, Felix Rosenqvist, Christian Lundgaard, Scott McLaughlin, your top 5 with 17 to go as Fox go to, hopefully, their final ad break of the day. 2.5 seconds is the gap between Kyle Kirkwood and Alex Palou, Tom, as Palou still not using his push to pass. He is saving it for later on in the race.
Yeah, I think that's probably the most sensible thing to do, because if he forces Kirkwood into a situation where Kirkwood knows he doesn't need to use push to pass, I think Palou's just sort of waiting until maybe the last couple of laps to then start to use it. But it's mainly on the pit straight where he is going to be using the push to pass the most. So he needs to limit or be frugal with his push to pass as to when he decides to use the remaining allocated out for the remainder of this race.
As we continue, driver's eye with Kyle Kirkwood and Alex
Hello?
Palou. Hello.
I thought I'd just come in to say thank you both for an absolutely amazing weekend of broadcasting. You two, especially as well, Naomi and Jess, as well, Matthew and Jack and the whole team. It has been absolutely amazing. And I know this race hasn't exactly been a thriller. We haven't had a thriller in NASCAR either. But I just want to thank you for both your hard work and a great weekend broadcasting. And to say that on air as well, it's been an absolute pleasure to do 46. And also enjoy the last 15 laps.
Ah, stop it, you're too kind. It's been an alright race broadcast. It's been multiple snooze fests. Kyle Kirkwood looking to get his second win around the streets of Long Beach in 2 years. 1 year off for Kyle Kirkwood in victory lane, but he's got the small matter of Alex Palou 2.3 seconds behind him, but Kyle Kirkwood has 66 seconds left of push to pass. Palou only 32, JB.
I forgot also Richie and Jack in that bit as well. But we've been watching the race alongside the NASCAR broadcast. Great strategy for Kyle Kirkwood, honestly amazing. And I think everybody was saying stop the count when we saw Robert.
I'm going to do a crofty. 2 secs, JB. Kyle Kirkwood, Alex Palou, Felix Rosenqvist, Christian Lundgaard, Scott McLaughlin, your top 5, 15 to go as we welcome back viewers watching on Fox. Hopefully, welcome you back for the final time. I wouldn't expect Fox to go on an ad break with 15 to go as well. Back to you, JB.
Well, I can tell you that your pictures are 20 seconds ahead of the Ultra HD pictures I'm watching in the front room, so that's surprising. But yeah, this is, by the way, the longest streak in IndyCar history to go without a caution. From St. Petersburg lap 1, since that, that yellow, to now, 2.5 races, well, 3 races effectively, caution free. It's the longest ever.
Yeah, it has been, well, it's been a quiet race for caution. And to quote Megan Birch, where's the yellow? We need something. Well, let's listen to Kyle Kirkwood.
An overtake for lap time and then maybe just save the tires a little bit. I'm just going to save the overtake.
and I'll answer Megan. The yellow is 2.5 seconds behind Kyle Kirkwood.
Well, I'm going to dip out, guys. Tom and JT, personally, thanks to you both. So great weekend. Tom, I look forward to seeing you in a couple of races time. I think it's Miami.
Yeah, so in for potentially Formula 1, F1 Academy, and maybe Frecker, because I think Frecker are competing on that same weekend, so I could be involved with what Omi is doing involved in that.
Fantastic. And also, I'll see you both on Tuesday.
Excellent.
For the British Touring Cars. And I will sign off for a clip with JT with saying, see you Tuesday.
Goodbye, JB. I will see you next Tuesday as well. Right, as JB departs the commentary box with a little bit like a laugh, little bit compared to a witch, which I think we could compare JB to a witch at times, but we won't tell him that I said that. And if you wonder, if you're watching on JBM why you can't see me, I am getting everything up for the finish of the race, so stand by. Tom going in towards the final 13 laps. Unlucky for some. Well, at the moment, it's an unlucky race for Alex Palou.
It is, but he knows he's not going to win every single race in this. I can't even think of a season in IndyCar where a driver's won every single race. It was going to come to an end eventually for Palou, but if he has this championship mentality in his mind, then he'll know that a second place here is still a fantastic result for him. So if I was Alex Palou, I wouldn't be too disappointed. If he could just bring the car home and get some good points out of it, then that will it'll continue his good run of form and put him on course for another IndyCar title. I can't remember if it's 2 or 3. He's won already. I think it's 3. He has won. Just from memory, getting the stats up. I know he won last year. He also won it the year before, and he won it in 2021. So this will be his 4th IndyCar title in the last 5 years. Should he be able to complete the job?
Yeah, absolutely. 3 seconds is the gap now between Kirkwood and Palou. Safe lead at the moment. And, well, it's not the final ad break. 12 to go here at Long Beach. And it's still Carl Kirkwood, Alex Palou, Felix Rosenqvist, Christian Lundgaard, and Scott McLaughlin. And, well, definitely, I hope for the final time this day, let's go down to Tom Gaymore and listen to him.
Where you finish when you're not winning is what wins you championships, and Alex Palou, he's just so difficult to take points away from. His closest rival heading into this weekend, Pato O'Ward, well, statistically, this is his worst track on the calendar, and that continues to play out. He just cannot get the rub of the green. You see what I did there, golf analogy. And now Scott Dixon as well, 3rd in points, obviously heading in, not quite gone his way. But for Alex Palou, he will take lots of points away from them. Obviously for Carl Kirkwood, he's going to benefit from Pato and Scott not having the best of days in the office. But for the championship, it's a strong day for Alex Palou down in Southern California. That said, could this spell a bit of a revival for Andretti Global in terms of their pace? We know they're good on the ovals with the hybrid unit. We saw how strong they were at the end of last year on the ovals. That's been their Achilles heel over the last few years. When the aero screen came in, the Andretti Global car just didn't look the same on the ovals. We know they're quick on street tracks. Can they eliminate the mistakes on the road courses? They'll be right in it. But how do the drivers and teams start pulling points back from Alex Palou is the million-dollar question, because if a bad day in the office for him in terms of not winning is second, then that is pretty ominous. We are witnessing something very special when we talk about Alex Palou and Chip Ganassi. Chip Ganassi look very, very strong in terms of their technical background, in terms of their simulation. That side of things, they've really stepped things up. And I was listening to Marshall Pruitt actually on the simulation side, and he was saying that Arrow McLaren have a lot of engineers back at base in Woking in the UK that they send all the data and information back to them when they wake up every morning. In Long Beach, California, they have information and data packs and all kinds of different things sent back from the UK to the Arrow McLaren squad for their engineers on the perch to look through. Hasn't helped them though this weekend. That said, Christian Lundgaard, the shining light in Papaya as Kirkwood continues to lead.
Nine to go here round the streets of Long Beach. Still Carl Kirkwood, Alex Palou, Felix Rosenqvist, Christian Lundgaard and Scott McLaughlin, your top 5. Kirkwood leads by almost 4 seconds as we welcome everyone watching on Fox, back and stateside, listening on USRN, the Ultimate Sports Racing Network, and around the world on Mixler.com. Still with me is Tom Kent, and well, it's been a bit of a snooze fest the past 20 or so laps after the final pit stops.
Yeah, I think the drivers just want to focus on getting the cars home and just keeping the cars intact. Don't want any expensive wrecks before they go to the next round in Alabama.
Oh, sorry Tom, let's quickly go
and,
down to Jack
yeah,
Colby.
it's been that sort of race.
They also have another fantastic racing driver, and that's Robert Wickens. He made his got back to racing at an elite level in IMSA yesterday. Essentially, he's the driver coach. That is not doing justice to his contribution and his impact to the entire team. He's there to try and help the drivers just find those final half a tenths, those few hundredths, which in IndyCar racing can be the difference between being on pole and being not. He is having such an impact. Shout out to Robbie. Hopefully they see this through. Only 8 laps to go.
Yeah, sorry Tom, you stopped talking and lagged in my ears and then start talking again just as I started phone down. Sorry Tom. Apologies, I hate interrupting people, but when it's Discord side I can't really help it. Carl Kirkwood exits the hairpin once again, and back to you.
I was listening to what Jack Harvey was saying there. Who was it that he was referring to?
I can't remember at this point. I've got so many stuff in my ears and I've very nearly forgotten someone. Hold on.
Well, whilst you find out about that, I'm looking through who's made the most positions from their starting spots, and you have to say that Christian Lundgaard has been the biggest gainer. 12th position he was on the grid, up to 4th position. McLaughlin's made up 1 position, Rosenquist has made up 1, Pelot's made up 1, and Kirkwood from pole position has maintained his place at the front. Looking around, who is in 7th place right now? That would be Will Power. He's made up 7 positions from where he had started. Colton Herter, who's running in 7th place, he had started... Where did he start, Colton Herter? He started P2 actually. He was one of the biggest losers in this race, Colton Herter. He started 2nd, he's running in P7. Not a good race by his standards, whereas Scott Dixon, who started 14th, is in 8th position. He made up 6 places from his starting spot.
Yeah, good race for him, as here is Pelot crossing the line to start 6th to go. Carl Kirkwood is already down in turn 1 as Alex Pelot crosses the line. That's how big the gap is, half the front straight.
Well, right on board with Colton Herter, he's got Scott Dixon for company. Dixon with 26 seconds of push to pass left available. How much will he use it on the straight? Well, he's using some of it now. Is the 6-time IndyCar champion Scott Dixon going after Colton Herter, who's yet to win the IndyCar series. He's been around in the championship for a long time. I think he still holds the record. But the youngest ever race winner in this championship is Colton. So he'll be hoping to just keep Dixon back for a little bit longer. And 7th position will be his to take from Long Beach.
Yeah, absolutely. A pole to a win for Carl Kirkwood incoming if nothing else happens, and I don't expect anything else to happen as we are on board with Felix Rosenquist, who is 3rd.
Rosenquist on course for another podium to add to his tally. After his spell in IndyCar, in Formula E, I should say, a long time since he was competing in that. It feels like the last one being in Diriyah in 2018 was the opening round of Season 5, which was incidentally the first race with the Formula E Gen 2 car. Didn't get very far in the race for the Mahindra team. They were just seeing overtake. This is Lundgaard on Rosenquist into turn number 1.
What a move from Christian Lundgaard down the inside at turn 1. Push to pass was definitely used there, but what a move. Five to go here. Sorry, Tom.
Yep, Rosenquist's last win. You have to go back to Road America in 2020. That must feel like a long time ago. And there is the Aaron McLaren crew cheering him on. Very, very pleased with that overtake. And he deserved that, actually, Dylan Lungard. He's driven a beautiful race from where he had started.
And we are looking at Felix Rosenquist now. 4 to go here around the streets of Long Beach. As we have a look at the replay, Tom, what do you think of that move?
Oh, it was superb. I think once Lungard had the high ground, he was going to need to be a lot longer, well, a lot later on the brakes if he was going to get the overtake done. I think Rosenquist maybe somewhat a little bit generous, but I think once he was alongside, there was just no chance of holding off. So Lungard up into the final podium position. The last time he finished on the podium, did Christian Lungard, just trying to get my stats up. He was on the podium last time out in thermal. It'll be 2 podiums in a row for the young Dane, who some may remember from his days in Formula 2 for a couple of years before switching his attentions to the States. And I think it's safe to say he is enjoying life so far from when he first joined.
To go, 12 seconds of push to pass remaining as we look at Will Power. Carl Kirk with 53 seconds, Alex Blow 24 seconds, Lungard, Rosenquist, Power all out of push to pass. That's the battle for 3rd, 4th and 5th.
Not long to go left in the race now, and it doesn't look like we're going to get any other overtakes, although there is a battle ranger between Scott McLaughlin, Colton Herter and Scott Dixon. A 3-way fight for 6th place as the laps continue to wind down. No more push to pass available for Christian Lungard, Felix Rosenquist or Will Power, but he didn't see whether McLaughlin, Herter or Dixon have got any push to pass left. I'd have assumed they've virtually got nothing, but we'll find out maybe in the next lap whether they do anything decide to go for it. Herter looks like he's the looks like he's the closest to try and get an overtake done on McLaughlin than Dixon is on Herter. But they are running out of chances to get the moves completed here.
Yeah, running out of places with 2 to go. We are about to take the white flag here around the streets of Long Beach. And we will pick up Carl Kirkwood to see the white flag moment as we start the final lap of this race.
What a job from Carl Kirkwood from start to finish. Pole position to the 5. Dixon's got 15 seconds of push to pass available, but I'd imagine he's going to wait until the pit straight next time around to use the remaining amount, because that is the longest straight out of them all to get an overtake complete, like we just saw from Christian Lungard on Felix Rosenquist a few laps ago. Now, is Dixon going to go for a move, or is he thinking more championship-wise that he doesn't want to throw away too many points? So there's Stingray Rob, who has had a better race than most of which we've seen from him since he joined the series, on course for a well-deserved 9th position.
As the white flag is thrown here on the final lap, and Fox don't show it as we are on board with Stingray Rob for some reason. Final lap, white flag.
We are seeing this is a battle raging on for a number of laps, JT, because Dixon is all over that, but just cuts away to Kyle Kirkwood, who is on his last tour. This will be win number 2 for him here in Long Beach, win number 3 overall in his career in the NTT INDYCAR series. This will elevate him up to 2nd place in the championship, ending Alex Blow's winning start to the season, but Alex Blow will continue to extend his margin at the top with a 2nd place finish.
Al Unser Jr. has won here 6 times. Mario Andretti has won here 4 times round the streets of Long Beach. Sebastian Bourdais has won here 3 times. Michael Andretti 2 times. Alex Zanardi 2 times. Will Power 2 times. Mike Conway 2 times. Scott Dixon 2 times. Alexander Rossi. Carl Kirkwood crosses the line and joins the list of multi-winners here around the streets of Long Beach. And what a race to do it in. The 50th run-in of the Grand Prix of Long Beach. And Carl Kirkwood wins this iconic race and joins the elite list of multiple winners of this iconic race, Tom.
Absolutely so. He'll be chuffed with that. And I think if there's one person that deserves a bucket full of water over his head, it's Kyle Kirkwood, because he's earned it. As well as the crew, because we saw one of the crew members get a little bit of a drench over at Andretti. And what a brilliant job they've done on the street circuit of Long Beach, where they seem to thrive more at than the ovals, as Tom Gamer had alluded to not too long ago. What a race for Kyle Kirkwood, from pole to flag. Huge points, elevating him up massively in the championship fight, with Alex Blow extending his lead over the others.
And in the last couple of laps, Lundgaard took the podium straight away from Felix Rosenqvist, so it's a Honda 1-2 and a Chevrolet third place. Power in fifth, so Honda 1-2, Chevy third, Honda fourth, and a Chevy fifth, Tom.
Yeah, not a complete monopoly for Honda, but nevertheless it's a great day for the Honda power cars, and Kyle Kirkwood, win number 3 of his career in this series. What a job he has done all weekend long. And hats off to Christian Lundgaard as well, from 12th on the grid to 3rd today. Made the strategy work, pulled off that sensational pass on Felix Rosenqvist in the closing stages, and he comes away with a podium for the Arrow McLaren squad.
And what a drive from the Arrow McLaren car of Christian Lundgaard. He's done so well. He had to fight so many drivers to keep his third place. He had to overtake in the final couple of laps, but he was able to get a podium. Here comes Kyle Kirkwood into victory lane. They're having to push him over the ramp and over the curbs onto the checkered flags. And he's into victory lane here at the Grand Prix of Long Beach. The flowers around victory lane. He gets his steering wheel off. He hands it to an IndyCar official. I'm still in my NASCAR brain. And he jumps out of the car. He unplugs his audio cables and he jumps atop the car. He celebrates. He is one happy man. The confetti flies in victory lane. And let's get ready to go down and hear from Kyle Kirkwood, who is now a multi-winner around the streets of Long Beach.
To celebrate the win. And we can hear from him now.
And he's at least had one teammate down here to greet him. Kyle Kirkwood is getting used to victory lane at Long Beach. 2 of his 3 wins, all 3 on street courses. And Kyle, you've just beaten the driver that some started to wonder if he was beatable at all. How did you hold off Alex Palou after your last stop and you came out right in front of him on cold tires?
I tell you what, he didn't make it easy on us. I mean, hats off to Prefab Honda today.
Hey, good job, brother.
Dude, huge one. Excuse his language. I mean, what a great day. We controlled the race from practice, right? I mean, we felt like we were in control. Really good qualifying, amazing race, amazing strategy, but it was just execution all across the board is what won us that race here today. Because if Palou was in front, he would have beat us for sure. This was a track position race here today without any yellows. And I mean, hats off to the Prefab Honda Andretti guys. Amazing job, and this is our coast-to-coast weekend with Andretti and TWG Motorsports, and to finish it off with a win, man, that is so cool, so cool. So hats off to the entire organization. They really deserve this one.
And you're second in the championship now. Is the 27 team coming?
Oh, we're trying. I said that before this weekend. This is where we turn it around, and you know, we're super happy with this win, but we're also upset that Palou finished second, right? Like, we need to start getting more of these. That's the only way to beat him. So we're going to reflect on this one, soak in this win, and then straight into Barber, where hopefully we can do this all over again. But
this is a good one. It's been a long time. I had a drought last year of no wins, and this is huge for me, huge for my morale, huge for the 27 crew, huge for Honda. 50th Grand Prix here at Long Beach, right? And to win it in a Honda, the Acura Grand Prix is huge.
And a two-time winner here in the streets of Long Beach, and the team is here. Go celebrate. Kyle Kirkwood wins again.
He won in 2023. Of course, INDYCAR Radio jumping in as well, but Kyle Kirkwood in the Andretti Autosports. And Andretti, this is their 7th win around the streets of Long Beach, and they now tie Team Penske, 7 wins each. And it'll be a fight for who can lead Team Penske or Andretti. Penske versus Andretti. That's not happened before, has it? For who has the most wins around the streets of Long Beach. Coming back up to cams, which means I'm going to have to actually stand up again. But, well, good moves when they happened, Tom.
Absolutely so. Just seeing the updated point standings below. 34 points clear over today's race winner Kyle Kirkwood, and it's Christian Lundgaard in 3rd place after the pass he made on Rosenqvist, and so that is shaping up rather nicely. Doing a superb job is Lundgaard since his arrival from the Rahal Letterman Lanigan Racing Squad, which he'd been with for a number of years before joining Arrow McLaren this year.
Yeah, it's a bit of a mouthful, isn't it? There's a reason that a lot of the commentators and a lot of people just call them RLL because Rahal Letterman Lanigan. See, even I can't even get it correctly. It is a massive mouthful. Let me try again. The Rahal Letterman Lanigan Racing. There we go. And, well, the first person I saw from the Rahal Letterman Lanigan Racing team, Louis Foster, 16th finish. Not bad for Louis Foster, of course. He's got experience around most of the circuit with Indy NXT, just not INDYCAR, as he joined the INDYCAR main series circus earlier on in the year, at the start of the year. I have got the new drivers. Where is it? Let me just get it. I have got it, trust me. I just need to find it. And I can't find it, but I do have it somewhere, and I won't stop looking for it until I find it. Here it is. So, driver changes for 2025. Louis Foster was the 2024 Indy NXT champions with RLL, and then Prema Callum Ilott raced INDYCAR 21 to 23. Robert Schwartzman is also a rookie. He raced WEC in 2024. Devlin Di Francesco, he is returning. He raced INDYCAR 2022 to 2023. He's at Rahal Letterman Lanigan Racing. Connor Daly raced INDYCAR from 2013 to 2024, and he's got Junkos Hollinger Racing. And Jacob Abel is a rookie. He was in Indy NXT with Delcoin Racing, and of course Chip Ganassi Racing has decreased entries from 5 to 3, which is why we had a couple of changes there. Marcus Armstrong changed from Chip Ganassi to Marshank. Let's go down to Alex Pillow.
And the season, 2 and a second, you've got to be happy with this, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. You never feel amazing when you finish second, but honestly, the 27 car, Kyle, they were amazing all weekend, super fast. I tried my chances, but we couldn't really make it work. Had a really bad start on my side, and that kind of put us in the back foot. But anyway, I think we did the best we could. Amazing to be here second, but hopefully next year we can just improve one step.
And your family are here, your mum, your dad, your sister. It was so cool getting to see you celebrate with them. Just say what that support means to you as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't get to see them very, very often, living in the States, and they're still in Spain. But yeah, it's amazing. It's been 4 months since I've seen them. And for me to get them a podium, it's good. And I cannot wait for them to meet my daughter on Monday. So, yeah.
Congratulations, champ.
Thank you.
Kevin?
It's back-to-back podiums now for Christian Lundgaard. He goes from 12th to 3rd, and you were the highest starter starting on the harder compound. Seemed to work pretty well. What made it work for you?
This one's dedicated to the crew. I think everybody on the number 7 Velo Aero McLaren Chevrolet got to rebuild the car yesterday. I topped the car in the crash in qualifying. This is to them. It's to John Edwards, who unfortunately passed away, close to Carl Larson, who'll join us for the month of May. So this one's to everybody on the entire Aero McLaren team.
You had a big-time overtake at the end of the race, getting past Felix Rosenqvist. It's tough to pass here. How did you get that done?
It's funny because I was on lap 42 and I saw I had 109 seconds left, and then I forgot about it. I forgot about my overtake, so I think that paid dividends at the end of the race, and we were able to get Felix there. I think he was being nice at the end there in turn 1, but I'm just proud to get this one for the team. This is the work that they put in yesterday. I told them I'll buy them a couple of beers when we got home next week, but I think giving them a trophy is good on top of that too.
Well done. Christian Lundgaard is 3rd in the championship now. Hey, you're not done. Go celebrate. Get on up that podium. It's about time for that.
Absolutely, and we shall get ready for the podium, and then we will go to the full classification and that. But full classification time, Carl Kirkwood wins for the 2nd time around the streets of Long Beach. Alex Palou and Christian Lundgaard back-to-back podiums for Christian Lundgaard. This is the first race Alex Palou has not won. Felix Rosenqvist 4th, Will Power 5th, McLaughlin 6th, 7th Herter, 8th Dixon, Stingray Rob 9th, Kiffin Simpson rounds out the top 10, and we will continue that after the podium ceremony.
And here to present our 3rd place trophy is Joe Preciado, Business Manager of the Southern California District of Laborers at LaUna. Congratulations, Christian. Now we move on to our 2nd place finisher. Let's hear it for Alex Palou. And here to present our 2nd place trophy is Doug Gibson, Vice President of West Sales at Cuervo Tequila. Congratulations, Alex! And now, the moment we've all been waiting for. Let's welcome our Acura Grand Prix of Long Beach race winner, Kyle Kirkwood! And here to present the 1st place trophy is Lance Wolford, Vice President of Auto Sales at American Honda.
Trophies are lifted. More confetti is fired.
Well, there is the top 3, Kirkwood, Palou, Lundgaard. Guys, what a day here in Long Beach. What a race run.
Day indeed. If I accidentally do the wrong fader down. There we go, I get the right fader. Let's continue our final classification before we go to final 4. So looking ahead to the next round, and the month of May incoming as well. 11th, Santino Ferrucci. Then it is Marcus Ericsson, Patro Ward, Marcus Armstrong, Alexander Rossi rounds out the top 15. Then it's Louis Foster, David Malukas, Robert Schwartzman, Venus VK, Nolan Siegel in 20th. And then let's scroll down. It's 21st for Callum Eilert, 22nd for Graham Rahal, 23rd for Christian Rasmussen, Darren Di Francesco in 24th, 25th is Connor Daly, Jacob Abel in 26th, and 27th and last, yes, you hear that correctly, Joseph Newgarden, 27th and last. He was 2 laps down, and that was because he had seatbelt issues and he had to be restrapped in the middle of the race, which is not at all ideal, Tom Kearns, is it?
No, but it's better to be safe than sorry. You know, it's what's worse, you know, coming in and getting your belts rebuckled, or being involved in an accident, or if you using the brakes so heavily, it can really launch yourself forward, and goodness knows what could have happened from there. So I think when Newgarden looks back on that, he'll feel very, very lucky he actually still stay strapped into the seat. And yeah, safety absolutely paramount as always. And I think once your belts do come loose like that, it leaves your team with no choice but to bring you back in to get it sorted out.
Yeah, absolutely. Champagne flies here in Victory Lane at the Aqua Long Beach Grand Prix, and the GoPro in the middle of it as well. I'm just loading up the schedule, but first, while I do that, Tom, final thoughts and looking ahead to the next round.
It's looking good so far for Alex Palou, 2 wins and a 2nd place, and I'm confident he'll continue that form into the next round in Alabama, which will be, I think it's a road course this time around, isn't it?
Yes.
So that is going to be something for him to look forward to. Will Andretti get it right over there compared to the street courses where they've gone very well at in the past? Will it be a sign of things to come for Kyle Kirkwood? Can his season be very much up and running after this?
Yeah, absolutely. It's taken him a couple of rounds, but Long Beach is a strong circuit for him. Well, we leave after 46 streams, a marathon weekend here across JB Motorsports and USRN, the Ultimate Sports Radio Network. But next week, it's Saudi Arabia, Formula 1, Formula 2, F1 Academy, as well with NASCAR at, well, I'm going to say it for the Americans, Rockingham for the NASCAR Truck Series and the NASCAR Xfinity Series as well. It's not helping that my laptop is lagging. Yes, I do run this all on a laptop. Please don't come and slaughter me. It's also the 6 hours of Imola here next weekend on the channel. But next time out, it is Barber at Birmingham, Alabama, for the Barber Motorsports Park. But first, Tom, it's me and you with many others at the British Touring Cars testing. This Tuesday you can join us all day live from green flag to pit lane. Kyle Kirkwood is a 2-time Grand Prix of Long Beach winner, but we will hope you join us on Tuesday for the British Touring Car launch day. See you next Tuesday, everyone.